This is the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast.
Welcome to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Ken Countess. Ken is an internationally recognized marketing expert. This podcast will give you tips on how to market your business more effectively than ever before to help you make more money, whether you're just starting out or have been in business for years. And now, here's Ken Countess.
Hey, welcome to this episode of the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. I'm Ken Countess, and today I've got Kellen Kautzman with me. Kellen is an SEO expert, a YouTube expert. You can find him online. You can find him most anywhere. I've listened to and watched several of his YouTube episodes. Really some great stuff out there. Kellen, welcome to the show.
Mr. Countess, how's life?
Great to see you. And, hey, I've got to put a hat on also. So here we go. How do I look?
You know what? You look very sharp, professional, interview worthy, I would say.
Interview worthy. That's good. Well, then what if I do this, though?
Now you're going to have to do your acrobatic skills for us, which I know you have.
Nope. That'll come up in a hurry. So anyway, I'm glad you're with me, and we have a lot to talk about. And for those who have not, who don't know of Kellen, we've got a real treat for you. Kellen is an author. As I mentioned, he's a real expert on SEO and YouTube and lots of different areas. So I'm delighted that you're with me, and let's get to it. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So a little different how I came to SEO. I was a teacher. I got a master's degree in education from the University of Minnesota, and I taught at a school that was basically Hogwarts. So if you can imagine Harry Potter style castle with just gorgeous, stunning architecture, I'd walk in there and go, what am I doing here? Incredible, beautiful. Taught Spanish and ESL, and SEO to me is intrinsically connected with language. And it certainly was 10 years ago when I first started writing lesson plans. So I thought, okay, look, as an ESL or Spanish teacher, I want to quick hop on Google if I'm what we call punting in the teacher business, which is I'm not ready, here we go, I need something real quick. So I wanted to help teachers punt really quickly. And so I would create how to tell time lesson plan or counting in Spanish, XYZ, whatever. And just really built in lesson plans. And the game really hasn't changed since then. Flash forward 10 years, I have offices in Manhattan and California, headquartered in Las Vegas, and we're doing the same thing, which is producing content that people want, that quickly answers their questions, makes them happy. The language has changed. Now we're talking about rank brain and artificial intelligence and how that impacts rankings and that sort of thing, but the fundamentals haven't. We're looking at Alexa, and Siri and that sort of thing. That's a conversation that's beginning to crop up. People are talking about how do folks talk to the machines and what does that mean? It's funny because I just said Alexa and it was ready for me to say something on my desk. So that's the game. So the nuts and bolts of it are that when I was quite young, when I was 2 years old, my father passed away and my mom passed away when I was 26. And so all of that energy, and I found this with most relationships in my life, all of that energy can go one of two ways. We can have that really affect us, pull us down, and then we struggle, or we can use that energy to lift us up and do amazing things. And so a lot of what we do at Send It Rising, and note the name of the company, Send It Rising, we're all just trying to, keep it going up, is based in having a soul. Right? So when we talk to clients, it's not how can I cash your check the quickest? It's I wonder what we can do to benefit you. And until we are all rock solid on what that is, we don't step forward. And I'm not trying to pitch Send It Rising. It's not what I'm doing. So the purpose of this particular interview is to give you as much innovative ideas like YouTube, and we'll get into that, Pinterest link building, which is amazing. And so I'll quickly say one thing about YouTube before we dive in, which is auto captions on YouTube should tell you everything you need to know. Mm-hmm. So amazingly, as we speak into this video right here, you can imagine every word I'm saying underneath me. And so don't think of blog content as just words written on a page. Think of it also as words spoken into YouTube, because it is exactly that, written content.
Excellent. Excellent. Hey, before you get into, before we really dive in deep, before doing what you're doing today, what was your last gig, if you had one, and why'd you leave it? You mentioned teaching. Did you leave teaching altogether?
Oh yeah, yep. I said goodbye. It's interesting to me. With my kids, I kind of want them to have a plan B. Plan B worked for me because I can continue to take risks. Even today, I was talking with my director of internet marketing saying, should we go full time with this new hire? Should we? And the answer is going to be yes. Yes, we should. We should take that risk. We continuously take risks like that, and they continue to pay off because in the very back of my mind, I go, you know what? If all else fails, if everything goes crazy, everything goes sideways, no one can predict the future, if things just blow up, as they sometimes do, I can teach, and I enjoy teaching. And so having that fallback to me has given me courage to take risks, and those risks have paid off.
So what did make you get into what you're doing today?
So I love the concept, perhaps the illusion, my good friend Ken Countess, of passive income. I would like to think such a thing exists. And with the lesson plans on the two sites I was writing for, Associated Content and Bright Hub, you could ostensibly earn passive income. Write the lesson plan. It gets 1,000 views per month. I make $2 per 1,000 views. Okay. I was getting about 1,000 per article per month. And so 1,000 articles is $2,000 a month. Right. And so that's what hooked me. Gamification is a very popular word nowadays. People keep talking about gamifying processes. And for me, it was exactly that. It was, what's the game of producing content with the end result of making passive income? Now we just do that on behalf of businesses.
Right. Cool. So tell me about a couple of your favorite gigs. What do you really love?
My clients?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Like, what do you mean by gigs? Do you mean like who are my favorite clients or what are my favorite?
Do both.
Okay.
Your favorite clients. Yeah. What would your ideal best client look like?
Oh, okay. Sure. So I love when clients are on page 2 or 3. When they come to us, I say, oh, you're so close. You're in the sweet spot. I love it. We don't have to do the whole managing expectations conversation of you are nowheresville. It's going to take a long time. Like, this is what it looks like. That whole thing.
Cheers, by the way.
Oh, yes. So what I would say is clients that are close. One of our best performing clients is a personal injury attorney here in Las Vegas, Marcus Berg, a friend of mine. He was on page 2 and I said, Marcus, it's tough. Personal injury is tough. I know it's tough. No one can predict the future. This is Las Vegas. You throw a stick, you're going to hit a personal injury attorney. And so we dove in. We started kicking some butt for him. And because BNI is basically the core of our marketing, and I'll talk about that in a second. We do really great work for folks in these BNI chapters, and then they stand up and they say, you know what, I love Kellen, and here's what he did for us, and he's busting his butt, and we're just so grateful. And when someone else says that, it means something.
Oh, sure. Right.
So that's the entire model. So we've got 5 folks in BNI chapters throughout the nation now, 1 in New York, 1 in California, and 3 here in Las Vegas. And so I would say that human relationships, if that can be considered a gig, is one of my favorites. And then taking folks that have they're really close, but they don't realize how close they are to making good money and getting them there.
Excellent. So let's talk about YouTube. Let's spend a few minutes. What are some of the tricks of the trade that people ought to know about when they're putting stuff up on YouTube, like this will be soon?
Yes, sir. So it's almost becoming, I don't like using the word necessity because oxygen is a necessity, gravity is a necessity, right? But we're getting close to the need to have YouTube content as part of a SEO program that is actually going to work. And by that, it's exactly what I explained earlier, which is every word we say here auto captions. It becomes a written word for the umbrella company Alphabet, which owns Google and YouTube. Right. And it's considered by RankBrain, the artificial intelligence algorithm. And how many words are we going to say in this interview? 10,000? Who knows? It's a lot. It's definitely a lot more than a blog. And look at the keywords we're saying. We're saying RankBrain, SEO, internet marketing, social media, pay-per-click, AdWords, blah, 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 blah. And so if we create this content, if we get past that notion of, we get out of high school, we get out of college. And for many folks, they go, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do public speaking anymore. No one's going to make me do it. I don't have to do it. I'm just done with it. And they just throw up their hands and they get behind a desk and they shield themselves. And that's the end of that. The game has changed. Look at like 16-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 23-year-olds. They are constantly making video, constantly. Mm-hmm. And so we have to start thinking about the ramifications of video content as it affects our businesses. So that's one, the auto captioning. Two is when we create video, most of our small businesses are going to have the following problem, which is 4 views. You did all that work. Great, excellent. And you got 4 views, maybe 1 thumbs up, right? And you've got 20 videos with 6 views on them. It looks terrible. Right. And so what I would recommend is a couple of things. The first is if you have an AdWords account, invest the slightest amount. I mean, micro budget, 50 cents a day, 25 cents a day, to what are called in-stream ads that are geo-specifically targeted. Okay. And so if you do $1 a day, these in-stream ads will show up prior to someone watching the video itself. I highly recommend making some long-form content because the ads will run the entire video. It's like a hack. It's crazy that YouTube allows this. But if you have an hour-long video, it costs the same as if you have a 2-minute video. There's no difference. And you get charged once they get to 30 seconds. 29 seconds or less, they hit that skip button, you don't get charged. Right. So it's really important in that first 5 seconds where everybody's just hitting the skip button really quickly to say, hey, this is Ken Countess with XYZ, and this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. Because they can't skip. So you can get free branding. They hit skip. You didn't pay for that. Fantastic. And then if they do get to 30 seconds because either they stepped away from their computer and they just let it run, or they're actually watching and engaged and interested in the content, then they hit the skip button at like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You get the view. And so the cost per view, we've seen 1 cent. 1 cent cost per view, crazy. $1 is 100 views. Wow. And so now when you share these videos to folks, either because you answered a great question or that's just engaging cool content, they're saying, oh, 1,000 views, respectable. 12,000 views, oh, interesting. All my public speaking stuff, 15,000 views, 20,000 views. And a lot of that comes from in-stream ads. Mm-hmm.
Good. That's great. That's a tip that I'm sure everybody will benefit from. So obviously you're the man. You'll have a chance to mention not only your company, but do a little shameless plug in a few moments also. So that's one great tip. What would your second great tip be?
For YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to ensure that the video content is directly connected to the website in question. So if we have a YouTube video or a YouTube channel that's set up and it isn't linked appropriately on the actual channel, that's a no-no. The second piece is that in the description of the YouTube video, if we don't include http:// or https, if you've done your SSL certificate, and we can talk about that as a ranking factor, that's a new thing. SSL certificate, securing your site, look into it if you haven't done it already. But that HTTP part is necessary for it to hyperlink. Mm-hmm. If you don't include that, it doesn't hyperlink. And it actually does
for the description down just below the video, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. Okay. And it doesn't even turn blue anymore. It's still black. But if you hover over it and you try to click on it, you'll see that the HTTP links. Now, there's something.
And I think it'd be helpful for people to know that for the stuff that's up there already, they can go in and add it, right?
That is 100% absolutely right. I will sit down with clients, huge casinos, huge businesses, go to their YouTube, not one. They've got 82 videos, no links. And I go, crazy. First thing we need to do, we need to hop in there, add those links in the description. Why I know this matters is because in Google Search Console, which is free, by the way, folks, if you have Google Analytics set up on your website, you literally type in Google Search Console into Google, click it. There's an option to set it up because you already have Google Analytics set up. So if you log in with the correct Gmail that's associated with the Google Analytics account, you go to Google Search Console, you hit a button, ta-da, you have Google Search Console now, okay? Very important to do that.
What does Search Console do for you?
Now, here's why you want Google Search Console. It gives us the most information that Google is willing to give us about your website. It tells you the number of indexed pages. It tells you the number of links back to your website. It gives you the capacity to choose your preferred domain. So is it with the www. or without the www? There's an option in there to pick which country you target from. Do I want to target just the US? Because the standard is not, it's global. So if you're a local plumber, Why the heck are you telling to Google, like, hey, I'm good with Afghani traffic. I'm good on that. I want the USA traffic. So you can change that. And then the links themselves in Google Search Console, if you do what we just mentioned and add the link in the description, they appear there in links, and you can literally measure how many from YouTube you've received. Final piece on that is you take the video and you make sure to embed it onto your website. I think putting it in the blog is the easiest way to do that. Even if you write 33 words on top of it, hey, this is us talking about XYZ. You click the share button on YouTube, it gives you a piece of code, you put that on your website, you embed it in the blog. If, like this video here, you said 4,000 words, you now have a 4,033 word blog post because that video contains all of that content. Rankings go up, time on site goes up, bounce rate goes down, people hop on the blog, they click the play button. It's just good all around.
Excellent. Great tips.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, that's about ranking and getting yourself noticed on YouTube. So let's talk about how that extends, and let's extend the conversation into SEO on just a plain old website.
Yeah. So the basics of SEO in 2018 are that you need to do the basics, title, meta description, piece of cake, nothing to it. We got to start thinking about people, how they're interacting with the website. So time on site, bounce rate, that sort of thing. If you've never heard this before, mobile first indexing is big, big, big. This happened back in March, I want to say. So go to your mobile site, make sure that the amount of time people would spend on it is halfway reasonable, that the text is the appropriate size. And again, Google Search Console is a necessary element because this is where Google will tell you the font size is too small. The phone number is not click to call. There are issues that they've identified, and unless you go in and fix them, you're in trouble. If you've never heard of accelerated mobile pages before, AMP, this is very important for mobile. There are plugins if you have a WordPress website where you can add the plugin and all of a sudden all of your blog content turns into accelerated mobile pages content. And if you don't know what that means, it means that if you're on Google, they're actually showing little, they're giving little information saying that this is an AMP page. And what it means is you click the button, it's going to load. Piece of cake, super fast. Load time obviously is a huge component of SEO, as is web design in general. Put all that to the side. SEO in 2018 is a content creation. So we're talking about how many blogs can you produce per month, understanding that the image itself is understood by Google. I was doing a keynote in Minneapolis where I had 55 plus salespeople for this Canadian steel and agricultural conglomerate. And I had a picture of an auger. And an auger, for those of you that are unfamiliar, is the device that takes grain from a grain bin and it has it travel up the machine and it dumps it in the truck. Okay, I had no idea what an auger was.
Yeah, I can't either. Thanks for that.
Yeah, it's a screw conveyor, okay? So this machine, I took a Meridian auger and I put it into Google's API for image recognition. And the first thing that pumped out, it said machinery, okay, with like 93% accuracy. Second was agriculture. Third, auger. And then it spits out all just random whatever. I did another speech for a Cessna Pilot Centers conference. It knew that it was a Cessna 172. First result, Cessna 172. And that's, a few months ago. So if you're adding pictures of a computer screen here's a good example. You're a personal injury attorney in Las Vegas, stand in front of the courthouse. It's going to know that's the Las Vegas courthouse soon if it doesn't already. So the images you're adding, make sure that you're conscious of RankBrain, Google's artificial intelligence algorithm, understanding what that image is and whether or not it's been used a million times. So if you just use Shutterstock, guess what? It knows that's the 73,000th time that image has been used on the internet, not original, less points. So unique photography matters.
Great. Well, can we talk for a moment about this? This comes up from time to time in the workshops I do. And one of the things I talk about is how, the world is changing with search, right? We talk to our phones. You mentioned Alexa earlier. I can say, hey, Google, and my phone will light up.
Yeah.
How has that changed SEO?
So I will say this. I love budding topics like this. They're interesting to me, but I always take them with a grain of salt. So right now I would say, meh, if you're like a plumber. I don't think people are going, I need a plumber to their machine. They're not asking Siri about the plumbing. They're not, so I don't think we're there yet. It's not fully ingrained. I think if you really want to rank for an answer to a question sort of thing, then now going down the Alexa path is starting to make sense. I think if you're Coke, if you're Nike, if you're Pepsi, if you're Dove, you're having these conversations. You probably have a team talking about what this is going to look like XYZ months down the road, years down the road. Fine. Great. If you're a typical small business, it's not there yet. It's still, kind of getting there, but doesn't mean we should totally turn our ears off to the developments. I bought an Alexa, and it's going to start talking to me now, simply for the fact that I knew I had to be a part of that whole cultural. So at this point, I don't know. I wouldn't tune out completely if you're a small business, but just kind of keep your finger on the pulse.
Yeah. Although, I would suggest, and by the way, for those listening, we're recording this in late July of 2018. Things could be very different in late August of 2018 for all we know. But if I'm driving around in the car and I say, hey, Google, or hey, Siri, where's the local pizza place? Then voice search, may have a little bit more of an impact. Certainly, plumber's a whole different story. And I think that's a great comparison in terms of what we're talking about here. But the world changes quickly. And, who would have thought 5 years ago that we'd be where we are today? So it's important to keep all this stuff in perspective.
Yes, sir. I completely agree with that. And I'm reminded of the Google Duplex presentation. Wherein, have you talked about it on the show yet?
No, we haven't.
Oh, it's brilliant. So basically the CEO of Google, it's a demo. Okay. So take it with a grain of salt. It's a demo, but they basically have, the Google AI that they say to it, hey, Google, set me up a hair appointment, from 12 to 2 PM. And the Google AI says, oh, okay, sounds good. Calls the local hairstylist on behalf of the person. The person picks up from the hair place and says, oh, hi, how's it going? And they're like, hi, I'd like to schedule a woman's haircut. And there's something called the Turing test, which is, can a human realize that it's talking to a robot? And if a robot passes the Turing test, it's indistinguishable. And if you haven't checked out the Duplex demo, just type in Google Duplex demo, watch this thing. The Google's AI is spooky accurate. It's doing things like, oh, okay, no, 1 PM sounds good. Oh, okay, like little interjections, like all of the small subtleties of human language it had. Absolutely stunning.
And by the way, while you were doing that description, our Google Home over here has been talking to you.
I believe it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like my Amazon device is just, it wants my attention.
That's funny. So let me ask you this. Where do you think most business owners are most challenged when it comes to marketing their business, when it comes to things like SEO and YouTube and, things that seem to be pretty foreign to a lot of businesses still?
Right. What is the business owner challenge? I'm writing that down because I want to start by giving an analogy in a somewhat different industry. So we own a property in North Las Vegas. We've had it for a few years, and I can manage the property in North Las Vegas. I am physically and mentally capable of managing our North Las Vegas property. I'm not managing our North Las Vegas. There is no way. I have different set of priorities. There are different things I'm focused on. There are different things I'm good at. And so SEO to me is similar in that regard. You can absolutely run your own SEO program. Write 8 blogs a month. Make sure they're over 300 words. Use unique imagery. Make YouTube videos. Understand that it gets auto captioned. Embed the YouTube videos onto the blog. Share them via Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn. Take your custom images. Put them on Pinterest. Consider Instagram. Keep that running. Sign up for Google AdWords. Become Google AdWords certified. Do A/B ad testing. Develop landing pages. Look at your conversion rates. Look at phone calls. Set up conversion tracking on the phone. And you can do this. You can do this. You absolutely can. And that's fine. And we do little like $100 an hour consulting stuff all the time. Like, hey, we want to, okay, not a problem. I'll swing by, go da, 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 da. The teacher in me loves that. Like, oh, you're going to do the work? Fantastic. There's what you do. Piece of cake. I don't have to do it. I love it. You go right ahead. Here you go. So I feel like those like property management and web management are similar in that regard. I don't think that there's the secret magic sauce that internet marketers have that other people can't fully understand and grasp, and we're all smart folks, we can figure this out. It's just very time consuming and hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult to do well, and it's exhausting, and it requires an infrastructure and a lot of management and blah, blah, blah. So I would say that if you're a small business owner, don't shy away from learning it. Don't shy away from maybe developing a WordPress website. See how much goes into it. So next time you ask for a website and they say it's $3,000, you're not like, that's preposterous. Right. Because when you really dig in and you want to do it right, you realize, man, this is a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have those kinds of conversations all the time because people say, I'm a DIYer. And I say, cool. But your time is an opportunity cost too. All right. So if you value your time at, pick that number, $100 an hour. And let's say that you don't know Photoshop. We'll go really basic. And you say, well, I'm going to tweak my Photoshop, my picture with Photoshop. And if it takes you 3 hours to do that one image at $100 an hour, that's a pretty expensive tweak on a photo. You could go, just, lots and lots of places and have it done for way, way less, which frees you up to stay in your lane and do what you do best. So yeah, SEO is the same way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, we're making money on the property in North Las Vegas because built into the system is the fact that we know we're going to pay for that. Mm-hmm. And we know we're going to pay for repairs. We know that that's just the cost of doing business, and we're okay with that. The path to wealth, as far as I know it, is trading time. You just have to trade other people's time. You have to be able to have this person do work for you and still be profitable. And right. It is constantly changing. But I think we all intrinsically know that.
Yeah, I agree with you. So let's spend a moment talking about what a business owner, when it comes to marketing on the web, mm-hmm. what should they do more of?
What should a business owner marketing on the web do more of? So if they haven't already set up call and location extensions on AdWords and played with separate landing pages for the highest conversion rate, that to me is a step one kind of item. If you can get AdWords to be profitable, you are so much ahead of the game than a lot of folks. And so really diving into AdWords and being able to turn $1 into $2 right there, that can open up a lot of budget for you. It also gives you the capacity to not get ripped off by people. So if you go to an internet marketing company, you say, hey, look, I've been running my AdWords for about 1.5 years. These are my conversion rates. This is where I'm doing. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. You can have an enlightened conversation with folks about what that looks like.
Right.
If you don't step into that world and you're just vehemently opposed to it, just being very cognizant of the reporting that you're getting back mm-hmm. and making sure that it's conversion based. So what are my conversions? CallRail is a good example of technology that can help get business owners the data they need. CallRail will change the phone number based on where it came from online. So if they click an AdWords ad, for example, it will change the phone number when they get there. If they call that number, it tracks who called, where they came from, and how long they spoke. So we'll have CallRail reports where sometimes we'll get 20 calls, but they're all 30 seconds or less. That's not good. We want a minute plus, minute 30, 2-minute phone calls, those sorts of things. So just being very sober when it comes to the reporting and getting those conversions. In regards to content development, you can find content fairly cheaply if you want to manage it yourself through like a textbroker.com. There's a million of these sites where you can just order content. If you want to manage it, that's fine. But one of the pieces of the puzzle that digital advertising agencies are going to struggle to help with effectively, cost effectively, is going to be video. Sending out a whole video crew is expensive. If you can learn how to play this game right here, start a podcast, buy a couple cameras so you have a 2-angle YouTube channel video sort of thing. No one can speak for you. No one can speak in the way that you speak. They're not going to have the subtlety, the expertise, the flow. I can't talk about plumbing. I can't talk about personal injury. I know nothing, right? And so you got to be willing to get on the camera.
Great. What should someone who's running a business, what should, I think we've skirted around this, but what should they do less of? If they're not marketers, I mean, it sounds kind of obvious based on the path we've been taking. If this isn't something you do every day, give it to someone who does it every day, right? It'll be far better for you. Far better for you.
Yeah. I believe that, and this has happened for me over 8 years. Whatever I'm doing now is I'm going to hire someone to do 6 months from now. And whatever I'm doing then is going to be what I'm going to hire someone 6 months from now to do. And it's happened so many times. And every time I hit this emotional, spiritual, mental block where I go, oh, it couldn't possibly happen again. Not here. It couldn't possibly happen. And it keeps happening. And then I have time to write a book, and then I write a book and I go, oh, but I couldn't possibly have like staff writing this, that couldn't happen. And then it's these podcasts, and then it's, this company, they wrote a check for $6,000 for me to come speak 90 minutes at this conference. And prior to that, the most I ever made was 500. And so that's how this goes. It's like nothing for 3 years, nothing, like literally nothing, no money, nothing. It's just grinding away. And then $500, and then it jumps to 6,000. I think the way it's structured and why it's structured that way is that huge gap of just nothing for years weeds almost everybody out. And then you get paid. And then there's this really dramatic jump. And I think businesses are like that, where like restaurants, it's like nothing, popular. And now they got a line around that, and it's based on the service, and it's based on having the chutzpah, the soul behind the business.
Right. Excellent. Kellen, this has been really great. I have a list of stuff that we could be talking about. I'd love to have you come back again.
Oh, I'd love to come back, and we can talk about some of my favorite stuff like Mission High School and cause marketing and all that stuff. We could do a whole episode on that, Mr. Countess.
That would be great. So listen, let's put the wraps on this one. But before we do that, how do people best reach you? This is time for your shameless promo or plug.
Shameless plug time? Yes, my name is Kellen Kautzman. That's Kellen, K-A-U-T as in Tom, Z as in zebra, M-A-N. If you go to kellenkautzman.com, you can see everything that I'm up to on the public speaking, consulting, internet marketing side. The company that I own is Send It Rising. That's SENDITRISING.com. I believe in personal communication, so you don't have to talk with somebody you've never heard before, so you can email me directly. My name again is Kellen, so my email is Kellen, K-E-L-L-E-N at senditrising.com. Again, that's SENDITRISING.com.
Excellent. Well, a tip of the hat to you.
Thanks to you as well, Mr. Countess.
We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye. And don't forget to check out our brand new Email Marketing Online Academy. It's www.marketyourbusiness.co/email-academy. That's where you'll find out more. Check out all of our episodes of the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. It's on our website, marketyourbusiness.co. Look for the podcast tab, and there you'll find all previous episodes. And while you're on our website, don't forget to check out all the other resources and sign up for our weekly newsletter too.
Thanks for listening to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Ken Countess. Be sure to visit marketyourbusiness.co to access show notes, discover our fantastic content, and sign up for our mailing list. Have questions? Send Ken an email, ken@thecountessgroup.com, ken@thecountessgroup.com, or Twitter @CountessGroup. See you next time.
If you need help with this or anything else related to marketing your business, reach out to us.